Welcome to the Brigham Young University Family History Library webinar series. Feel free to use the chat box for any questions. If we are unable to get to them during the presentation, they will be answered at the end. My name is Maddie Acey, and I will be your host for this webinar. Today, we will be pleased to hear from James Tanner, who will be giving a presentation titled Making the Most of FamilySearch.org. James Tanner has a bachelor's degree in Spanish and a master's degree in linguistics from the University of Utah. He received a Juris Doctor degree in law at Arizona State University. He served for 2 years as an intelligence analyst for the U.S. Army and 39 years as an Arizona trial attorney. He has previously owned a retail computer business and an Apple Macintosh software company. James has over 32 years' experience in genealogical research and is an avid blogger of Genealogies Star blog and Rejoice and Be Exceeding Glad. He served for 10 years as a missionary at the Mesa, Arizona Family Search Library and is currently serving at the BYU Family History Library. He has presented at expos and conferences around the U.S. and Canada. James has 7 children and 33 grandchildren.
When they had it cut. Howdy, this is James Tanner. We're here again for a webinar on making the most of FamilySearch.org. This is part of a webinar series sponsored by the Brigham Young University Family History Library on the campus of Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. These webinars are recorded and they're uploaded to the BYU Family History Library YouTube channel. We'd also encourage you to subscribe to the channel and you'll receive notice of any newly uploaded videos as they come out. This is the fourth in what turns out to be a series of programs about the partners between FamilySearch and 3 of the other large online websites for genealogy. FamilySearch entered into a partnership some time ago with Find My Past, Ancestry.com, and MyHeritage.com. And these programs are all free to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the sponsoring institution for FamilySearch.org and FamilySearch International. Okay, well, we're going to get into it. First of all, what is FamilySearch.org? It's a website, which is pretty obvious, but on the other hand, there's some important things about that website that you need to know. There are billions of records in what's called the historical record collections. These are digitized records that come from 2 different sources. First of all, in 1938, the LDS Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, began a process of digitizing records internationally. Microfilming records internationally. This microfilm record project culminated in the acquiring approximately 2.4 million rolls of microfilm. These rolls of microfilm are stored in a large man-made tunnel in a canyon right outside of Salt Lake City called Little Cottonwood Canyon, and it's referred to as the Granite Vault. The Granite Vault contains these records, but the microfilm records have always been available at the Family History Library, and as they develop to the various family history centers, of which there are about a little over 4,800 worldwide. So the process previously for obtaining records from, now we'll talk about FamilySearch, from FamilySearch was to come to a family history center, fill out a form, order the microfilm, wait for the whatever time period it took for the microfilm to arrive. You were then notified of the arrival of the microfilm and given a period of time to review the microfilm at, at the Family History Center, and then eventually the microfilm was returned to FamilySearch. By paying an additional amount for rental, you could have the microfilm stay in some of the family history centers. Some of them were not equipped to handle microfilm being retained. This was a process for years that we are used to in obtaining access to the vast collection of microfilm found on FamilySearch.org. In the past few years, there's been an effort to transfer this whole process to a digital format. So the first number of years ago, FamilySearch began the process of digitizing all of the 2.4 million rolls of microfilm. As those digitized records were processed, they have been included in the historical record collections, and that's where all these records are. There's a prediction that within a few years that process will be complete. When there are no longer any records that are not digitized, then this ordering process for microfilm will simply disappear, so that there will be no more microfilm ordering. But in addition to the records that are being digitized from the existing microfilm records, there are a lot of volunteers who are missionaries for the church, and also a part of FamilySearch, who are called acquisition, or part of the acquisition department, and they are out around the world. Presently, approximately 300 of these people are digitizing more records constantly. So FamilySearch.org is receiving new records almost daily, and these new records are being added as quickly as possible to the FamilySearch.org website. In addition to the historical record collections, which consist of census, vital records, historical records of all kinds that may have information about your ancestors, FamilySearch has been digitizing collections of books in conjunction with a group of libraries, primarily the Family History Library in Salt Lake City, Utah, but also branch libraries of the Family History Library, larger family history centers that had collections of books. For example, Mesa, the Mesa Family Search Library in Mesa, Arizona, had quite a large collection of books, and more than 3,000 of those were digitized and are now included in a digital book collection that's on FamilySearch.org. Presently, the number that I looked at just the other day when I made this post was 299,551, but that number will continue to go up as additional books are added. So there'll be more and more books, and these books are entirely searchable for names of your ancestors, for information on historical and other information that might be available. We'll talk a little bit more about all of this, but we're giving an overview right now. In addition, there are millions of user-submitted genealogy records. The genealogy records that were submitted to FamilySearch and its predecessors over the years include a massive collection of records called the ancestral file. Another user-submitted records collection is called the pedigree resource file. And then another huge record collection is called the International Genealogical Index. These were just large millions and millions of records that were accumulated in these vast databases, plus some others that we'll talk about. And these records are also all on FamilySearch.org. This is probably one of the most, one of the questions that comes up frequently is, oh, whatever happened to the ancestral file? And I say, well, it's on FamilySearch.org. And they say, oh, where is it? You know, that's the problem. So that's what this webinar is about, is giving you some orientation to the resources that are available on this this very large and very highly used website. In addition, we have what's called the Family History Research Wiki, which has over 84,000 pages of information about genealogy and genealogical subjects. There's a lot more pages in the wiki, but most of the rest of the pages deal with how to work with the wiki. and how it's maintained. So this is another vast resource. I usually refer to this as the most valuable online resource about genealogy that we have today. And also, we have a huge resource called the FamilySearch Catalog. This used to be the Family History Library catalog. Originally, of course, the Family History Library had a paper catalog, 3x5 cards in card file drawers. That was digitized quite a while ago. However, what is now on FamilySearch.org is not just the Family History Library catalog, but also the catalog of all of the other holdings of any significance in all of the family history centers around the world. So basically, you can look in there to see what's on in another part of the country or part of the world. For instance, here, the Brigham Young University Library, Family History Library, which, by the way, is the second largest family history library in the world, has a huge collection, and there's some overlap with the Family History Library in Salt Lake, but in a lot of cases, the information here at BYU is different, and all of that information, with some lag for cataloging and other issues, appears in the FamilySearch Catalog. One of the probably most well-known portions of the FamilySearch website is the FamilySearch family tree. Now, this is probably obviously a subject of other webinars that we'll do and have already done. But the FamilySearch family tree is a unified compilation of all of the information that has been contributed to FamilySearch and its predecessors over the years. This goes back over 100 years of contributions. It has been in existence for a number of years, and just recently achieved a milestone when the program was entirely rewritten and redesigned, and many of the issues, such as the inability to combine or merge some individuals, was overcome. The program now is, and this is my opinion obviously, but is completely functional and is ready to be used. Now, we're not going to talk a whole lot about the family tree, but you should be aware that this is a fabulous place to go to get information about people you're looking for. It's very possible that somebody out of the millions of people who have contributed information to this family tree, that they have provided some kind of information. Whether it's correct or not, that's up to you to determine. But in many cases, and more as time goes on, the entries are being substantiated by adding sources to support the information that's contained in the family tree. So it's a unified, collaborative family tree for all of the human family. It sounds like a rather large undertaking, but it's certainly a very laudable goal. The thing about being collaborative is very simple. Everyone can see everything that goes into the family tree for all the deceased people. Living people live in their own bubble and can't be seen, but the rest of the population of the world that's there, it can be reviewed by anyone. So I can go look at your relatives, you can look at my relatives, and if we're related, we're both looking at the same relatives. Supplementing the huge family tree program, the Unified Family Tree, is a section of FamilySearch.org called the Memories, or the Memories Gallery. And in this, FamilySearch has allowed the uploading of certain maximum numbers of photographs, documents, and other stories and audio files about our ancestors. There is a process of tagging, meaning identifying the people in photographs or in the stories or documents, and tagging those to the individuals who are in the family tree. So the individual has, each individual who has any of these memories that have been added, those memories are viewable directly from that individual's page in the family tree. The gallery can have show you all of the items that are there, or just the photographs, the stories, the documents, or just the audio files. So there's a way of looking at just those items that are available. This is the document section. Now, what constitutes a document as opposed to a photograph? Obviously, they're both digital copies. I guess the distinction that I've made, and it seems to be quite obvious, is that photographs, as we're going to determine them to be, include pictures of people and the names of those, and tagged to the names of those people. Documents, on the other hand, have text or information about people. So a headstone is a document. It may be a photograph of a headstone, but that's still a document. And anything that has text, like a birth certificate, a death certificate, a newspaper article, or whatever, can be considered to be a document. And an important thing about these documents that can be added to the memory section is they can be attached directly to individuals in the family tree as a source. So if, for example, you had a death certificate, you could upload a digitized copy of the death certificate, and then there's a process of attaching that directly to the people that are mentioned in the death certificate, and is given as a source for information about those particular people. The stories part of the memories is our text files. When we say they're a text file, what we mean is that the file could be created in a word processing program or right into the FamilySearch stories section, typing it in. But the most common way of doing this is to write your story out in some kind of a word processing program and then copy and paste the text directly into the stories section. There are size limitations and numbers limitations on photographs, documents, and stories. So you may run into that, although the numbers are so high that most people probably never realize there are any limitations. This is helpful because it helps to preserve the stories of our ancestors and makes them accessible to all of our family members. Okay, well, the question comes up, if there's all those millions of documents on the FamilySearch.org website, including both newly digitized records and the conversion process from the microfilm records, so where are they? Well, they are under the Search tab of the website, and by clicking on just the Search tab as it is, our Records tab, you can then search directly this collection of vast collection of historical records. That's the Search tab at the top of the FamilySearch website page, and when you click on it, you can view the records, the genealogies, the catalog, the books, and the wiki. We'll go through those each briefly and kind of explain which of those are. So if you click on the records, that will take you to the historical records collections. Then when you click on genealogies, that will take you to the genealogies. That's the ancestral file, the pedigree resource file, the International Genealogical Index, or IGI, and community trees, and a few other programs that I'll show you in just a minute. Next is the catalog, which is a comprehensive catalog of the holdings of FamilySearch in the Family History Library, and as I mentioned previously, also the branch family history libraries and other institutions. Now, BYU Family History Library is not a family history center, nor is it a part of FamilySearch. It is a library is part of the main Harold B. Lee Library on the Brigham Young University campus. So it is included because of the kind of overlap and the common operator of the both institutions, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The books collection I mentioned earlier, and we'll go into that a little bit more in just a minute. And then we have the Wiki, which I also explain. But here's the here's the links to each of those, and clicking on those links takes us to each of those categories of records. Now we'll talk first about the historical record collections. Each of these collections constitute anywhere from a few to millions and millions of records. If you were to look closely at this screenshot, you'd see one collection that is represented by having a little over 6,000 records, and then down near the bottom there's another collection that has over 2.3 million records. Well, there are collections with millions and millions of records, or there are very small collections. So the word collection does not signify or give us any clue as to actually how many records are in that particular that selection of records. These roughly correspond, the collection corresponds to a single repository or source where the records were obtained. So in other words, if you got 1 million records from the National Archives, they may be broken down by each category of records, and in some cases they're simply identified by the place where the records were kept. For example, Alabama deaths or Alabama death records and burials. To search the historical record collections, all you need to do is start filling out this little search form that's here. There are some options for showing additional information. You can add in, for example, marriage and residence and death and things like that to vary the search terms that you're using to look for information from from the historical record collections. When you do a search, you get the search results that you get show you over on the right hand side, excuse me, are some there's a link to the details, which is a summary of the record. And if there is an image for the record, then a little camera will appear. If you could see this closely, you would see that there are two different camera images. One indicates that the record is on the FamilySearch.org website, the small one. The larger camera image, a little bit different, indicates that the image may be on a partner website or a different website. So not all the images are right here on FamilySearch. On the left-hand side is a way to update the information. So once this list of results comes from a search, then it's basically up to the user to go through, look at the records, and determine whether they actually talk about that person's, your ancestors or not, whether you find what you're looking for. So you can actually look, though, at the original document, and if there is an image, you can look at that image. Now, if you click on view the document, what you get, for example, here, this is a death certificate for Martin Henry Jr. Tanner, who lived in Tooele, Utah. And Martin Henry Tanner's one of my relatives. And he, his death certificate in thumbnail is shown on the right-hand side, and you can click on that and see a blown-up view of that death certificate. And then there's a process by which you can attach that to an individual. Now, I might mention here that millions and millions of records have been digitized around the world. FamilySearch has one of the largest and most important collections of genealogically relevant material from all of these libraries and other repositories that exist around the world. and the collections are increasing dramatically almost every day. There's additional records added to FamilySearch.org. This kind of thing that if you looked for your ancestor a year ago, you might want to go back, or even a week ago, you might want to go back and check again to see if the records have been added since you last checked. Now, currently, many of these records are found only in the catalog. Why is that? Well, because not all of the records have yet to be digitized, and many of the records in the catalog are items that may never be digitized because they're copyright protected or otherwise restricted. So going to the catalog is really the best way of determining what it is that FamilySearch has with regards to your ancestors or records that may apply to your ancestors. So you can find the digitized records that are already in the historical record collections and the microfilm that are yet to be digitized, plus microfiche, all the books and everything else. All of those items are in the catalog. Now, whenever I say something like that, people come back and say, well, the catalog's not up to date yet. Well, the answer is they're working on it. Things come out as quickly as they possibly can. And the catalog is updated constantly. So any new items that come out may take some time period to show up in the catalog, but they will inevitably and eventually show up in the FamilySearch catalog. In my way of doing research, I use the catalog much more than I use any searches in the historical record collections. Although presently there is a way of searching directly from individuals in the family tree into the FamilySearch catalog or into the partner programs if you have a subscription to those partner programs. When you search in the catalog, you can search by place, surname, title, author, subject, and keyword. Now, learning how to do a search in a catalog, such as the FamilySearch Catalog, is no different than searching in a catalog in any other library or other institution that has a catalog. You're basically at the mercy of the people who created the catalog. So your task of learning how to search in the catalog involves guessing how they cataloged what you're looking for. And all I can say is it's a skill, searching in the catalog, and that as you spend more time searching, your ability to find what you're looking for increases. The first step in working with the FamilySearch Catalog, however, is to search for places within the country or subdivision of the country that pertain to your particular ancestors, where an events occurred in your ancestors' lives. Records are created at or near the place that an event occurs and created by someone who either witnessed the event or was responsible for recording the event for some reason. And so this is how the catalog is organized, and it's most efficiently used by searching for places rather than looking for individual names. You may or may not find your individual ancestor's name in the catalog. That would be actually quite unusual to find your ancestor's name in the catalog. It's more likely that you'll find a reference to a record that was created where your ancestor lived that records some information about your ancestor. Once you click on a place, for example, in this example, I've clicked on Mexico or searched for Mexican records, then I obtained a list of all of the Mexican records, the national records of Mexico. Then there's a link that allows me to click on places within Mexico, and in that case what I get is a list of all of the Mexican states, and there is a list there to choose from. In some of the countries, like Mexico, the places that are embedded in this layer process in the catalog can go down to the local parish, which may be only encompass one or two small villages. So this is a very valuable way of seeing very quickly whether or not the FamilySearch.org website has records that might pertain to your ancestor. You always have to remember that you need to search for records at all of the levels in the catalog because they're not duplicative, they are cumulative. So once you get to the catalog, you can see additional digitized records. So for example, here you'll see a notification in red that this particular record, which are state records of birth, marriages, and deaths for Vermont, are digitized. And so there's this is what it says. It says Vermont Vital Records 1760 to 1954 are available online. Click here. So there's how to look at those records. In addition, the catalog has a reference to each individual microfilm roll as a separate searchable link on from the catalog. This is not in the historical record collections particularly, it's in the catalog itself. And the little camera icon that's shown there on the green bar shows that the images are available, and the little magnifying glass says that there's also a list of all of the names of the people that appear on that particular record. So that's a very helpful newer addition to the catalog. The next section we look at is called books or family history books. And this is what I mentioned previously, the over almost 300,000 books that have been digitized, primarily from the Family History Library in Salt Lake, but from all of the libraries listed on this page, on the search page for the books. Now, searching for the books, there's also an advanced search option, and in searching for the books, you get the entire book if it's available, if it's there obviously, and in some cases, in most cases actually, if it's in the public domain, you can download an entire copy of the book to your own computer if you wish to do that. This is the list of the participating libraries, and as I mentioned, it includes over 299,000 fully digitized books. I wouldn't be surprised today that if it's over 300,000. When you find a family history book that you're interested in, what you get is a digitized copy of that book that, under some circumstances, can be downloaded. I find many of the books I find on the books can be downloaded. However, other people, simply because of where their ancestors lived or what conditions they were under, may see different results and not be able to download the books. But the books should be searchable and available. Now, in some instances, the items that are represented on the catalog or in the books list are restricted in some way by the person who donated it or by the institution that had the records originally. And FamilySearch observes those limitations, and the restrictions may prevent you from viewing these items outside of a family history center, or even in some cases, they may only be viewed at the Family History Library in Salt Lake City. The next section over for searching is genealogies, and I mentioned this briefly, but the list here of and what they are is that genealogies are trees submitted to FamilySearch. That means that they're relationships, show relationships in many cases, not all cases. The IGI in some cases only has names and not relationships, but they help you fill out your family lines within the family tree. Now, the accuracy of the data in these genealogies varies from tree to tree. And this is the notice that's actually published on the website that says that FamilySearch encourages you to validate all of the data that you find in any of these family trees. Now, what do they mean by validate? Well, put into a little more blunt and less, um, let's say, diplomatic way of putting it. The information could possibly be wrong, and you're at the risk of having to verify it if you want to use it. So that's basically the problem with user-contributed trees. But these can be very useful in some cases. These are the major assets that are in the genealogies. One is access to a database of the Guild of One-Name Studies. Now, this is kind of some genealogists have probably not heard of the Guild of One-Name Studies, but I would suggest that if you have ancestors in England or in New England, that you might want to become acquainted with this organization. Basically, what they do is create databases showing relationships of individuals who have the same surname. So they focus on individual surnames, and the information that they develop can be very, very helpful. Community trees was a project that was run by FamilySearch for a number of years, gathering a large, very reliable, to some extent reliable, family trees dating, for instance, back into the Middle Ages, or for certain locations such as the Polynesian Islands or other places. So it's sort of you might find your information, and you might not. Oral genealogies have been collected around the world, and this is a collection of the oral genealogies. And then there's the pedigree resource file, which I've mentioned previously, that has user-contributed pedigrees. The ancestral file, which was a compilation from user-submitted family group records or paper records that were submitted for many years to the predecessors of FamilySearch. And then the International Genealogical Index, which is basically a compilation of user-submitted work, that the records that were submitted to FamilySearch. In some cases, it involves records that were extracted primarily from English parish registers. Now we're talking about the Family History Research Wiki. As I mentioned, the wiki has 84,000 pages or articles on every conceivable subject about genealogy. When you're searching on the wiki, you search for either by places or by subject. It's in a sense an encyclopedia, or a collection of articles that tell you about where to find information. Because of the internet and the way that it's structured, you can click on links to many of the resources, or nearly all, in fact, of the resources that are in the wiki. The wiki itself does not contain information about your ancestors. It has information about where you might find information about your ancestors. So if I clicked on, for example, on New York, in other words, I searched for New York, I would see a page that comes up that looks like this: New York, United States Genealogy. And then over on the right-hand side, I would see links to all different kinds of New York record types. That would be New York Bible records, and cemeteries, and census, and church records, and court records, etc. So there are other pages explaining where these records are, where they might be located, either online or in paper repositories. The next tab over on FamilySearch.org website is from the Search tab, is the Indexing tab. Now, indexing is a voluntary project to identify and put into indexes the names and pertinent information in the historical record collection. So These records that are being added are basically raw records. They're just copies of the microfilms or copies of the records directly. The indexing process is really what makes them searchable and gives the ability to locate your ancestors within a particular record. And this is a volunteer program, and you're welcome to volunteer and help. We're always looking for more people to become involved, and from time to time they run indexing promotional activities and different things. So there's quite a huge number of people around the world who are doing indexing. Now, indexing is basically done twice and then reviewed. So you have what's the A indexer who does an index, who extracts the information, and then a B indexer who extracts the same information, and then they're compared or arbitrated by a person called an arbitrator who then decides which of the two, if they agree, then they're both, and it's fine. If they disagree, then there has to be a determination made as to which of the transcriptions is correct. So overall, indexing is the process of entering information from historical records into an online searchable database. Now, very important to remember that the FamilySearch.org website has a rather extensive help center. Up in the, you'll see that up in the upper right-hand corner of of all the pages have the link out there, and it says Get Help. And so when you click on the Get Help, you get a bunch of different help possibilities. First of all, there's self-help on getting started with Family Search, a video and some other information. And then there are a way to contact Family Search. You can call them on the phone. You can get online and get a live chat. You can send a message, or you can find local help, somebody who's in your area in a family history center who can help you. You can also be involved in remotely connecting and My Cases. What we're focusing on here is the help center itself. The help center link is right here, and when you click on the help center, you get a number of icons leading you to help topics on the different parts of the program. So depending on what you have a question about, whether you have a question about a family history center or memories or the family tree or about your Family Search account, then you choose the icon that applies, and then you'll receive further information about that particular topic. Now, the Learning Center is a different section from the Help Center. The Help Center itself gives you a lot of information to answer specific questions about primarily the operation or policies of the FamilySearch.org website. The Learning Center, on the other hand, is a huge collection of videos and instructional materials about learning about family history, research, all sorts of things. And once again, you go to the Get Help menu, and when you do that, then you can click on the link to the Learning Center. You'll see also that there's a link directly to the Research Wiki that we've already talked about. And what's new? Well, I won't make that editorial comment, but they're not always up to date on what's new. They need to keep that pretty well supplied. Anyway, the Learning Center has hundreds, and they used to have a total, but there doesn't seem to be a total poking around in here. But usually, I would guess the number is well over 1,000 videos and other materials, including the past Roots Tech videos from the Roots Tech conference that was held in Salt Lake City in 2016, back in February. and they're broken down by country of interest and by language, and you can view these for free. Maybe I should have emphasized that at the beginning. The FamilySearch.org website is entirely free to everyone who wants to use it. Some of the requirement options for the website require you to register, but it's a free registration, and you will not get bombarded by any offers or solicitations of any kind because you sign into FamilySearch. Once again, back to the Learning Center here, you can choose from the left-hand column a more specific list of the topics you'd like to view or learn about. So this includes their hundreds of free online courses about genealogy. Now, no discussion of the FamilySearch.org website would be complete without a reference to the Family History Guide. Now, this is not part of FamilySearch directly, but it is a FamilySearch certified product and appears on the portal of the as a free program. It's a free program anyway, but it's a free program on the portal of the Family History Centers worldwide. Now, this particular program is a sequenced and structured approach to teaching all of the information about how to use the program. Okay, so you've listened to this webinar. You've been given some introduction to all these different parts of the FamilySearch.org website. You would like to use the website, but you don't know how. Here are the instructions and videos and handouts and class outlines and all sorts of things that will allow you to use the FamilySearch.org website and any other subjects that have to do with genealogical research. Recently, I've added sections here for children and about DNA testing. So it's the fhguide.com, and that takes you to a free structured and sequenced learning experience with links to over 1,000 additional help topics. And if you want to know more about the Family History Guide, there's a series of videos that were put up by the developers on the BYU Family History Library YouTube channel. This is the link here will take you to the YouTube channel. But by the way, it won't take you there because it's embedded in the video. But if you're watching this video on YouTube, then you will have already seen a list of the videos, and there's the videos for the Family History Guide, along with all of the other videos that have been uploaded to the BYU Family History Library YouTube channel. Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for watching today. Remind you that these videos are being uploaded to the BYU Family History Library YouTube channel, and encourage you to subscribe if you wish to receive notification of any newly added videos in the future. We've got some time here in August of 2016 where the school is in between semesters, and so new videos may not be uploaded for a week or two until we can get back into full swing here for the fall semester at BYU University, at Brigham Young University. Thanks for watching.